Being 5:15, I'd like to call the April 27th Planning Commission meeting to order. And for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second it.
Who made the
Jeff.
motion?
Jeff.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Susie. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Review for approval of the April 6th, 2023 Special Planning Commission meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Susie, seconded by Donna. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Ted, you're taking for 5 and 6?
Yep. 5 and 6 go together, and this all is due on the future SCS development lot. So to give you a little background of what is going on here, this was the CSM we created for their original project, their phase 1 that they were going to do that ended up not coming to fruition because the market changed. So they came up with a second plan. So we need to make some modifications on this original CSM that we did to accommodate their new plan. So on this CSM, you can see there was a proposed utility easement here at this location. There was a proposed public trail easement here for the existing trail that's there. And then there's a 10-foot underground sewer easement existing for the current sewer that's there today. So in your packet, you have a couple different documents. The first document is to remove the proposed 25-foot trail easement and the proposed 25-foot public utility easement that's on the current CSM. So that's one step. And actually it was kind of out of order, but I'll jump down here. Then this release of utility easement rights actually removes the easement for the existing underground sanitary sewer easement that's there. That's this one right here. That's what this document would take care of. And then we're going to add two new easements on the property. The first would be for the new sanitary sewer that we need to relocate to accommodate the new footprint. So you can kind of see that this is the location where this new easement would go for the sanitary sewer. I think the water's in here too somewhere. Here's the trail that's going to be covering the existing trail that's there. And I'll get to that. I'll come back to that in a second. There should be something with the water in here too.
I thought it was down.
Actually, the
farther.
water's in the right of way, right?
It was down farther.
Where was it in there? Sanitary sewer. That's the trail. And there's the
There.
water.
Yep.
Got it. So the water main is going to be relocated really close to the right of way right here. I want to go back to the trail. The reason why we narrowed up the trail easement, it was 25 and we're going down to 15. Swiderski's original plan was to put new buildings, 8 new buildings on the site. And then this was a preliminary design, but originally their design was to come out with a driveway into that Wyman Street roadway. That plan has changed with their new site plan. Let's see. The new plan is not to come out onto Wyman anymore. The new plan is to come out Smith and then come out on Wolf River Avenue and not come out on Wyman. So by the city changing this to be a 15-foot easement, we're not going into the street anymore. Currently, this property, the road is not really public right of way. The road today is half owned. Back in the day, they abandoned it or vacated it. And currently half the road is owned by Hilker. The other half is owned by the city. So hypothetically, we would have to go through a process in council, but, sorry, I'm flipping around. If we make this 15-foot, which that's all we need for the trail, we allow the city to have the ability, if we want, and if Hilker wants, that we could sell or vacate this 30-foot strip and give both sides of, they already own this side. We could hypothetically give or sell to Hilker this side too. So it'd be 100% their roadway, their driveway. Less property for the city to maintain. It's pretty much only used for their semis and such. Not saying we have to do it, but that gives us the option to do that if we would like. We could give them this strip right here, and then they would have the roadway, and then the trail would be in our new 15-foot easement. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, those two agenda items are to clean up the easement, get rid of the old stuff, put the new easements in here, which gives us the option if we want. Again, we'll talk about that at different meetings, with probably different committees, whether we want to actually go through with that, but it gives us the option to do so. Any questions?
Much of that, do we still plow the street by Elker?
We own half of it today, so I'm sure we're going through it and coming back, so
Oh,
I'm, yeah, so. Let's bring that up so you guys can see what that looks like. Yeah, so it's narrow. It's only because they got parking in here right now.
Mhm.
It's only a little over 30 feet right now of roadway per se. And the only reason it's being used is right now for their semis to gain access in the back of the building. So obviously, if we give it to them, then we have less maintenance on that stretch of road. And it would become a private drive for the most part.
That's something we would want to keep just for the access to get back to the trail, just in case.
We would have that discussion. This opens up the door to allow us to do it. Doesn't mean we have to. We would keep easement rights in here because there's some utilities underneath here. So we would keep or make sure the easements are there, if not create them, to make sure we have utility easement rights to get through here. So, and hypothetically, we could maybe throw together an easement to give us access to get back to the trail if we want to, for trail access. You know.
Does that Smith Street, does that go all the way out then? Or into that area where the apartment building is going to be built, or what's there now? I mean,
I've highlighted the right of ways. So Smith Street, this right here, all the way to the
oh, so
river.
Smith Street does go all the way through there.
Right
Okay,
of way goes to the river.
okay, okay.
There's actually a little alley back here that's in the right of way as well, behind John's Bar.
Yeah. I just didn't realize there was a road or there's a right of way, not a road. Yeah,
Yep. And there's utilities that go underneath here.
okay.
I think there's fiber optic and maybe something else that goes underneath the river in that location, but there's,
Water main that runs
I
across
wouldn't
the-
suggest us giving this up because there's a lot of stuff going on in here. You know, this was probably gonna stay right away. And then we retain that little strip because that was purchased through stewardship funds. So in our DNR agreement with obtaining that DNR grant, we can't give that up. We can't sell it. It's got to stay in the public domain as public recreation. So that's the lot we're actually looking at selling to Swiderski, and then putting that new sanitary sewer easement here. And then the new water easement right along the road.
Is there any utilities in that lot between Swiderski project and the John's Bar, that lot there? Is there any utilities there?
Jay, do you know if there's any water there?
There is water on Smith Street. There's water main.
I'm not gonna say this is perfect, but green is sanitary. And so, yeah, there might be some sanitary back there. Orange is storm. And I don't know if this isn't Jay's layer, so I don't know if this is perfect or not, but then this stuff would be the water.
Yeah, we
There's
cross the
stuff
river there.
And I would, when I look at something like this is a good starting point, but I would want to field verify all this stuff to make sure that this is actually true.
Why would we only have a 15-foot wide? Why do we need that trail easement there when we have access in several other ways? And then why would we limit ourselves to 15 feet when we own half of the street? Why wouldn't we just keep that all as a trail easement?
If we would sell this lot to Hilker, hypothetically, we're selling this lot to Swiderski, so we want to keep a trail easement because the trail is actually going to be on their property.
Has Hilker shown any interest in that strip of the road?
I met with them 2 weeks ago and kind of put the bug in their ear, and he just kind of would. So I don't think he was expecting me to kind of propose that, so. But I did mention to him that that's a possibility, and chew on it and see what you think, and down the road, we can talk about giving away a road.
So I think when you first started talking about that, you talked about giving that right away. Now we're gonna sell it, which I like better.
Um,